I do believe it's a setup. I'm just going to say that. Like, I've thought about it a lot. And I didn't rush to judgment. In fact, when the story first broke, which would have been the day before last, I just sort of sat on it and I watched it. And I thought, what could really be going on here? Are these just, idiotic moves? Look, it could happen to anyone, right? Like, you can send the wrong thing to someone. Or is there something more here? One thing that I found really compelling and interesting was that it was actually the Biden Intel department that put Signal, which is an app, a communications app, similar to, say, Telegram, if you've ever used Telegram, or similar to Discord, again, if you've ever used Discord. It's one of these apps, or WhatsApp. It's similar to WhatsApp as well. It's very well encrypted, though. It's like the one thing that, hopefully nobody can penetrate. But maybe somebody did, or maybe when it was set up, there was something fishy going on, or maybe they did something with his phone in the back. We can talk about that. But one thing that struck at me yesterday during the hearings, by the way, this story broke on the eve of the Intel hearings. You think that's a coincidence? I don't. I think it's very, very well planned. Anyway, here's John Radcliffe, head of the CIA, talking about how this stuff was all put on his computer and he was told he could use this and it was secure, etc.
So that we're clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was Signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of Signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
Okay, so he's making the point that this was basically authorized, right? That they were able to communicate on this and that it was encouraged. But here's my question. When they loaded this, could there have been anything funny that's going on? I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. Or could somebody have done something in the back to Mike Waltz's phone so that somebody was getting added and he didn't necessarily know? I mean, he's out there. He's taking the blame full on. He's like, it's my fault. I created the chat. I'm responsible. We are doing an investigation. But again, I just point out that this sounds really, really weird. Something that my former colleague over at Fox, Laura Ingraham, highlighted yesterday when she spoke with him on the show. I want to play you this clip.
But I can tell you for 100%, I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists. And I know him in the sense that he hates the president, but I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone, and we're going to figure out how this happened.
So you don't know what staffer is responsible for this right now?
Well, look, a staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
But how did the number? I mean, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but how did the number?
Have you ever had somebody's contact that shows their name, and then you have somebody else's number there?
I never make those mistakes.
Right? You got somebody else's number on someone else's contact. So of course I didn't see this loser in the group. It looked like someone else. Now whether he did it deliberately or it happened in some other technical mean is something we're trying to figure out.
So your staffer did not put his contact information.
No,
but how did it end up in your phone?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay, but that's a pretty big problem.
That's what we've got the best technical minds, right?
That's disturbing.
And that's where, I mean, I'm sure everybody out there has had a contact where it was said one person and then a different phone number.
But you've never talked to him before, so how's the number on your phone? I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this, but it's just curious. How's the number on your phone?
Well, if you have somebody else's contact and then somehow it gets sucked in.
Someone sent you that
it gets
contact.
Sucked in.
Was there someone else supposed to be on the chat that wasn't on the chat that you thought was on the chat?
So the person that I thought was on there was never on there. It was this
Who
guy.
Was that? What person?
Well, I'm not. Look, okay. Laura, I take responsibility. I built the group.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So she's asking the right questions here. Like, how does this happen? So apparently, think about this. So I don't know how familiar you are with Signal or Telegram or WhatsApp or any of these things, but basically you have contacts, right, in your phone. And sometimes I wonder how secure those contacts are, right? Because you may have a Google phone list or you may have something from Outlook and you put people's numbers in and maybe initials or names or whatever, and then they automatically download or populate into Signal or Telegram. So I'm just saying, what if somebody put in to his phone, was able to somehow hack into his phone and access the phone directory. And they put on this guy, Jeffrey Goldberg, who they knew would do exactly what they wanted him to do. Right? He would sit on the story. He would go to the Democrats about the story. He would ask around to the Democrats. He would never go to the administration. He would be a good loyal soldier like they are at the Atlantic. Hey, they need all that money, right? That's coming in one way or another. So the Atlantic winds up publishing this thing. The Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans. Well, Pete Hegseth is like, no, buddy, I don't think so. These aren't really war plans. We'll get to Pete's comments in a second. But first, just to back up, this is Jeffrey Goldberg, that reporter that really is just as lefty as you can get. He might as well move to the former USSR. Here he is on CNN talking about how shocked he was about everything. And again, I go back to this. Is this really what happened, or did somebody that wanted him to know things and report things on the eve of the Intel hearings, did somebody plant this?
You were kind of walking through when this began. You weren't even sure if it was real yourself. You thought maybe I'm being spun or conned or something's happening here?
Until the day that I received the attack plan from Pete Hegseth at 11:44 a.m. that Saturday, March 15th, and then saw the attack plan said that 1:45 p.m. Eastern time, that the first bombs would be dropping in Yemen. Until that moment, until that period elapsed, the 2-hour period between that text and the first bombs being dropped, I thought it was a hoax. I thought somebody was trying to entrap me. Again, could it have been a foreign intelligence service? Could it have been a gadfly organization that tries to entrap journalists, which we know happens? I didn't know what it was or who it was, but what I did know was that the obvious answer was that this is a real conversation of the national security leadership of the United States. Seemed improbable to me, because why would they do it on Signal? Why would they do this on a messaging app? And why would they invite the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic to watch? I say this only half jokingly. I mean, I'm sitting in a Safeway parking lot watching my phone and realizing, oh my God, this might be real. I think Pete Hegseth just sent this group actual targeting information, actual sequencing of an attack, and I'm holding on to the phone. I don't want anybody to... And then I thought to myself, well, I mean, I guess they're lucky they didn't send this to a Houthi by mistake, or to a foreign diplomat, or to somebody who would plausibly be in one of their phones. I guess that counts as a kind of luck.
Or maybe it was because it was supposed to happen this way. So Caroline Leavitt came out with a statement saying that there was no classified information that was sent, etc. This is similar to what we heard from Pete Hegseth, who is like, no, there were no war plans.
As I also stated yesterday, nobody's texting war plans. And that's all I have to say about that.
So those same troops that you are proud of, do you regret putting information like the ones you did in the Signal chat that could endanger those same American service members?
Nobody's texting war plans. I know exactly what I'm doing, exactly what we're directing, and I'm really proud of what we accomplished. A success.
You know, Spirit-filled, thank you for your generosity. Makes a really good point. Security clearances revoked and then suddenly a leak. Don't forget, all those security clearances were revoked, right? Hillary Clinton and all her friends. And then boom, presto, this happens. So because Pete said that, because they were like, no, there's no classified information, Atlantic said, okay, well, we're going to do another story on it. And so they released the text today, and you can see they're going back and forth, and they're talking about the text, they're talking about the times that they're going to trigger these weapons, etc. So this is the team update that's being sent out by Pete Hegseth to the group. Well, Pete saw this and he responded with this. So let me get this straight. The Atlantic released the so-called war plans, and those plans include no names, no targets, no locations, no units, no routes, no sources, no methods, and no classified information. Those are really some, you know what, war plans. This only proves one thing. Jeffrey Goldberg has never seen a war plan or an attack plan, as he now calls it. Not even close. As I type this, my team and I are traveling to the something region, meeting with commanders, the guys who make it all real, the war plans, and talking to troops. We will continue to do our job while the media does what it best: peddle hoaxes. Peddle hoaxes, all right? So Pete's like, you guys didn't have anything, but you're going to make something out of nothing. And believe me, I'm not even going to show you all these clips because it's not worth our time. But suffice it to say, the airwaves are covered all over CNN, all over MSNBC. This is their news story, right? And they're going wall to wall with this stuff nonstop, trying to take the Trump administration down, because this is what they do, guys. This is what they do. And I'm just concerned that this not derail anything. In other words, we got to move forward with everything. We have to know what's happening, and we have to sort of beat them at their own game by being 3 steps ahead. So far, this administration has done that beautifully. They're continuing to do that beautifully. Wait till you hear what was just announced on the requirement of voter IDs. You know, when you go to vote, imagine. Oh, this is scary. This is revolutionary to the left. I mean, they're already suing because they're saying there's no way he can use this executive order to actually require ID when you go to vote. It's crazy. But, you know, I'll tell you, you got to keep your head about you. You got to trust your instincts. And it's not just as a news reporter, as a journalist, I say this, but also as an investor. And it's one of the reasons why I did create this company, 76 Research. You can go to 76portfolios.com and see our top 3 portfolios there with all the top holdings. Just amazing, amazing numbers here. And I'm so proud of it. I'm here on the 1-year anniversary, and I'm psyched about that. As a special offer, I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep doing this, but you know me, I want to give you everything for free. So go to 76research.com, sign up for my newsletter there. It's in conjunction with my very dear friend who is a brilliant investor. And I'm telling you, like crazy brilliant, not just the schools back when they mattered, like Princeton, Columbia Business School, all that, but he ran billions of dollars on Wall Street for many years. And he, like me, feels very passionately about people getting the truth when it comes to investing or when it comes to making decisions about their future. So go check this out. Use my code word dollar. Sign up the first 2 months, just $1 a month. It is well worth it.